Okay, we are ready to start. We are in Daf Pei, Tes, Amud Beis at the Mishnah. Yato Shema Be'ir Mikudeshes. If a rumor got out in the city that she was Mikudeshes, and the Gemara is going to be very specific as to what is considered such a rumor. Oops, I just lost my screen. It's not registering here. I'm sorry. I just lost my connection. Very delicate. Let's try it a little different. I'm going to try it here. Okay, developing. Every time I just touch it, it's see if this works. Okay. Yotza Shema Be'ir Mikudeshes Harezu Mikudeshes. And Rashi says what it means is Penuya Sheyotza Aleh Koil, a Penuya who a rumor went around about her that Ploinis Miskadeshes Hayoim Leploini. So this is not going to be the maskana, but Ploinis is going to get married today to Ploini. I believe I lost my camera again. One last time, and then I'm going to have to give up because I'm not sure anymore if it's the camera or if it's the USB. It looks like it's the camera because no matter where I plug it in, I'm running into the same difficulty. See if this helps at all. Okay, let's try this again. Let's fill up. V'yesh devarim nirin, and there's reasons to believe that it's true. There are signs that this seems to be true. As the Amiroim will explain in the Gemara, and therefore we will not allow her to marry somebody else unless she receives a get from the person about whom the rumor went out that she married. How about migureshes? What if a rumor went out about a woman that she's migureshes? Migureshes. What would this be relevant in halacha? Kasol kadaitin zaprashi dahachi kamar eishes koyin sheyotza aleh koil, and eishes koyin, a rumor came out about her was that ploinis niskar shayon, she became divorced. Harezi migureshes, she has the status of a divorced woman. Vasura leishev oid tachta, she will no longer be able to remain married to her husband. The ilu migureshes lahakel v'linase l'shuk, if what the ramification of the rumor when the Mishnah passes migureshes is that she can marry somebody else, so the rumor leads to a kula lekala frushe. You can't possibly say that just because a rumor came out about her, yitzias koil nashri eshish la'ama, just because there was a rumor about a married woman that she became divorced, so because of that rumor, we're going to allow Nesha Shish, we would need Adam to be matter Nesha Shish. The Hainu de Bechinla Gemara, and the Gemara is going to ask the Kasha, Vasrinla Agavra al Baila Kohen. We answer her to her husband if he's a Kohen. The only thing that will prevent a rumor from being acted on, unless there's a good reason why this rumor came out that would diffuse the rumor. For instance, Ezahia Masla, Girish Ish Plonius Ishtoi Al Tanai. What if the rumor came out is that someone divorced his wife on a Tanai? That's a built-in Masla because who said that the Tanai was fulfilled? Or Zorak Law Kidushel Safek Karv Law Safek Karv Loy. Yes, there was a rumor that she became a Kudeshes, but she became a Kudeshes from Misafik. Zuya Masla, this undoes or undoes the rumor Mineube. As Rashi says, without Shaloi Tehei Shama Masla, Shaloi Yehei Ima Koil Shal Kedush No Shal Gerishin, Moshal the Tam Shu Shoiver Es Koyach HaKoil. Some reason that will diffuse and defang the power of that rumor. Girish plon yisishlei atnai, zeu shoiver shel gerishin. This would undo the gerishin because shemalon is kaim atnai. Or zorg lechudusha zeu masa shel kedushin hu adinami ibcha. Of course, the opposite would work as well. Zok Rumour, I don't understand. If there was a rumor that she was migureshes, vasrin la agavra, we will consider her migureshes, and now she's usher to marry her husband. Bitmiya. How could that be? We had this earlier on that Peyal from Peches, it's telling me at the side. If a call comes out after someone is married to his wife, that something occurred before their marriage or even during their marriage that would usher him to her, you ignore it. So over here as well, after he was married to her and was living with her, a call comes out that they divorced, that's something that we would ignore. Rashi gives us an example. If she married a kohen, we found out that prior to her marriage, even not prior to marriage, we found out that she's a zayna or grusha. We would never make a man divorce his wife unless we have clear edus, not just a rumor. She's a married woman. We're not going to just ask her to her husband because of a rumor that came out that was unverified that she's migureshes. Zok to Gemara. So let me explain to you what the case of migureshes is. Hachi kamar yata shma be'ir mikudeshes harezu mikudeshes. But if the rumor came out that she was mikudeshes migureshes, then you say harezu migureshes. What does that mean? Hachi kamar hai koil de migureshes areishakoy. The koil of migureshes is just adding on to the original case. Isha penuya sheyotza la koil mikudeshes. If a woman, a penuya, a rumor came out about her that she was mikudeshes, chashinan la, then we will be concerned. V'asur linasei ela lo oisayoich. We'll only let her marry that man who the rumor came out about her that she's married to. But chazor v'yotza la koil migureshes. But what if a rumor came out that yes, she was mukudeshes, but she was also migureshes. If right after it came out a rumor that this man, who we have rumor that he married her, now divorced her, so it sort of undoes it. Then that automatically diffuses the rumor of mukudeshes, because right beside it came out a rumor that that marriage ended. That didn't last too long. My time up. Because koil v'shoivra imoy. This is an example of a koil that's side by side with its shoiver. Shoiver is like a receipt that proves that I paid, but it breaks your claim. So too, this breaks the claim of mikudeshes because right with it together came out a koil of migureshes. Zok Gemara weiter. Amarava yotza l'shem mizana be'ir. A koil came out about a penuya that she's mizana. And Rashi says, why would that have any impact at all? Because she was mezana la'ovet yechavamula eved sheposhel lo'isam inakum. So a penuya, there's a rumor came out about her that she was mezana, and therefore she will now be usher to a kohen. Allah is ein choshish. We for sure do not usher her to a kohen. You know why? Because rumors sprout out about things that aren't even accurate. My time of prisusa ba'almahu the maybe they saw shesichsa b'shuk. She was schmoozing and having fun. She was flirting with a guy in the shuk. Or even if he played with her and touched her physically, that doesn't necessarily mean that she was actually violated. But rumors start from there. Oh, I saw, who knows? And therefore, we don't hassle her with a mere rumor like that. Zok to Gemara, Kitanoi. We have a machloikas today. Achla b'shuk. So this question of seeing her in a matzav of preachers, could we say that also makes her into a zayna? Achla b'shuk, she ate in the shuk. That's considered something that's horrifically preacher's dick. Or giger b'shuk, which Rashi is halchan the tuyas garden. She was walking around clearly trying to draw attention to herself. Right? That's one of the al-chaitz. Al-chaitz shechatonel v'necha b'netiyas garden. Trying to draw attention to yourself in a non-sneistic fashion. Or hinika b'shuk, which is unfortunately commonplace in today's society because people are such prutzim. She nursed her child in public. B'chulon Reb Meir Omer Teitze. Reb Meir holds if a woman did any of these and she's a married woman, she must divorce because we assume that she did terrible affairs. Rabbi Kiva Omer, no, you need a lot more than that. When she becomes the flavor of the week, when Nalva Yentis start talking about her, that's when it's bad enough that we have to force a divorce. And Rashi says, Muzaris Palavana, who are those? They're Noshim Matoivos B'Shuk. These are women who knit the Shuk, La'ar Lavana, basically a clan of Yachnes sitting together in the moonlight and are knitting, and they want to shmooze, they want to chit-chat while they're working. They usually would discuss nonsense. And what would they discuss? This group of women are the ones who invented the National Enquirer. This is like the prerequisite, the prequel to the National Enquirer. Someone said, hey, women love schmoozing about it. I can make money. I can sell a newspaper making up precistic news. Yeah. So here you have a machlokes about if you could condemn a woman just because she's acting precistic. Rameir holds yes, and Rabbi Kiva holds. Im kain lo yinachta bas lavram avinu sheyeseves tachas baila. If you're going to say that anybody who schmoozes about it, if the woman is at the topic of conversation, that answers her, well, then there's no woman at all who doesn't have any enemies. It won't take much for gossipers and haters to start speaking ill about a woman. And what that's going to do is it's going to ruin marriages. But Torah Omar, you know what you need in order to break a marriage? What does ervas davar mean? But the moment it says, Al pishnayim edim or Al pishloish edim yakum davar. Malan davar bar, afkan davar bar. With rumors, you cannot break a marriage. You need to have a davar bar, you need to have two edim. So therefore, rumors should definitely not be enough to force a woman to leave her husband. And like we said earlier, after Nisuin, kol kala da basa Nisuin, loy chayshinan le. Tani Rabbanon, be'ula ein chayshishin la, the Bach takes in. Be'ula ein chayshishin la, halutza ein chayshishin la, Nisua ein chayshishin la. Arusa ein chayshishin la. Shaloi leploni ein chayshishin la. So let's see what all these cases are. Ein chayshishin la, la'oisher l'kayin gadol. If there's a rumor about her that she's a bu'ula, we will not answer her to a kohen gadol because we don't know that she was really nevelas. The dilma pritzusa ba'alma chazula, maybe all they saw was she was flirting, she was fooling around, but not actually being violated. The other time, it says in our mission that you are choshish for a koil, and it's before Nisuin. We're going to soon see that a koil that we are choshish for has much more evidence to show that it's likely that it occurred. But just a rumor that's not backed by any other facts would not be, we would not pay attention to. Or Nesua, Yotza al Panuya Koil, Shehi Nesua Zeyomim, that she has been married a long time. But we know up until now that she's a Pnuya. If the rumor came out that she got Nesua today, that's where our mission says you trust the rumor. But this is talking about a rumor that comes out about a woman that she's already Nesua for a long time, and we know that she's Cheskas Pnuya, therefore we would ignore it. Ain't Choshish Allah. You're not Choshish for these rumors. The Kala de Masnisin, where does our mission say you do follow a koil? That's if the information comes out that today she became Ikudeshes. However, if there's just a rumor that she's married from years before, from days before, from months before, weeks before, and she has a cheskas pni until now, such a rumor will be ignored. Arusa, what would that be? Yotzala koil, she arusa zeyom. Again, our mission says if there's a koil about it that you became an arusa today, you listen to that. But if the koil comes out that she's been in arusa for a while, that you won't listen to. What about shaloi leploni? Yotzala koil, she mikudeshes hayoim. Avolo yiskiru shmoi. The rumor that our mission talks about that you do listen to is if there's a rumor that she got mikudeshes to a specific person. It has specific details. That's believable. But if there was a rumor that she got married but we have no idea to whom. Again, ain't choishish law. That's not either a rumor with teeth. What about Be'ir Acheres? Again, ain't choishish law, which means Yotza kan koil ploinis miskadesh hayom b'makom ploini. Here in Toronto, a call came out that Rivka got married in New York. That's not either a proper rumor that you listen to. Mamzeres ain't choishish law, which means Yotza kol she mamzeres. If there was a perfectly wonderful woman who we know, we assume that she's the Cheskes Kashrus, one day it comes out that she's a mamzeres, you ignore that. Shivcha ain't choishish law. What about a rumor comes out that says Hikdish Peloini Nechasav? Reuven was Makish always Nechasav. Do they become Aser Bahano? The halacha is you're not choishish or Hifker Peloini Nechasav, and then maybe anyone can go take whatever he has. Ein choishish in lahen. For sure, we're not choishish. Those Amar Ula Loisha Shamu Koilav. Our Mishnah that says that you can rely on a rumor to assume that she's mikudeshes, and then she will require a divorce. It's not stam they heard talk. It was much more details. In the house, it was clean and prepared for a simcha, as Rashi says. Like the derech of someone who's miskadeshes, means they're going to be a party there. They adorned the house. I guess they didn't have wedding halls in those days. They made a little party in their house. So they would have, there would be an air of happiness and arner kedarmin ba'alma or haner b'borer chel mista sham. If there's haner, if there's candles lit and the table is set and everything is spick and span, that tells us there's got to be a simcha going on in that household. And uvnei odom nichnosim v'yoytin, and people are coming in and out of the house. Like the night of Avart, there's cars clogging up the street for blocks, and people are going in and out the whole night, and the house is lit up, and people are saying, Ploinis is becoming, Asida, Rashi says, Asida is Kadeshayim. She is becoming Niskadeshes today. Fragt Gemara, how would that rumor be enough to give her the status of an Ishishish? Miskadeshes, maybe it didn't work out at the end. Zok Gemara, you're right. The rumor came out in past tense that she became a Kudeshes. So the house that she was in was all set up for a simcha. People are coming in and out, and there's a rumor that she got Niskadeshes to a specific person. That's a rumor that will give her the status of a Mikudeshes, which would require again. They didn't just hear rumors. He adds another factor, and women, the yentas, are also talking about it. And they're happy about her. Again, the Gemara asked, future tense, miskadeshes in the future. They had to have a rumor that says in past tense that she became niskacha. Once again, there's a very strong agreement amongst all of the titans of our Gemara. If this is what they said, then who coil? That would be a coil. If they didn't say specifically that she became a skacha, that would be the masla. So the Gemara asked, Loy Amru, and the masla means information that's added to the rumor that can diffuse the rumor. Here, there's no rumor at all. Loy Amru v'loy klum. But what do you mean it's called an masla? That's not a rumor. The masla means there's a rumor that's accompanied with something that will defang it. So before we see the teretz, let's quickly look at Rashi. Amru davar ploinis niskachayoim zeu koil shachoishin loy. But if they didn't say that, zeu amatla sheshover esakoil. Freit the Gemara haloy amru midi loy amru niskacha lav koilika v'lav amasli. He didn't say anything at all. So to Gemara, you're right. Lafuke midei rabba barafu. What Rabbi is trying to tell you is don't paskin like Rabbi Barafuna. The Amari said a masla sha'amru, and the masla that we're talking about is afil mikan v'yud yomim. Even at the time of the rumor, there was no reason to believe that there's anything about this rumor that won't prove that she is surely an Eshes Ish, but something comes out up to 10 days later, that will be enough to defang a rumor that was heard up to 10 days before. Kamash Malon, that no, only if the Amasla is directly accompanying the rumor, Kamash Malon, Loy Amru, Hu da Hava Masla. The only time it's in the Amasla, if it's Loy Amru, meaning if right when the rumor came out, the Amasla makes it as if it was Loy Amru right at that moment. Ha-Amru, but if the rumor came out on its own and stood on its own for a little bit of time, even though there was an Amasla introduced later, Loy Hava Amasla. Let's see Rashi. Lafuke, from the Kula of Rabbi Bar Huna, Amasla Shama b'Mishasenu, Sheshoyver Sakoil, Rabbi Bar Huna holds is Afilu Lo Yotze Makoil, Elo Achar Zman, Yotze Hava Amasla. And Amasla, so today it came out that she was Mekudeshes, and a week later, it came out that there was a T'nai involved, and maybe the T'nai wasn't fulfilled. That's too late. The rumor took effect already. But if right when the rumor came out that she was Miskadeshes, right together with it came out that the Kedushin was on a T'nai, only that would be an acceptable Amasla. Kamashalom, Hacha loy amru davar zeo Amasla. Only if there's an Amasla that would undo the rumor immediately. Vachi Gomer, loy gomer hadavar lahaitzi koil mikuyim. There's those who take out the word misuyim, but loy gomer hadavar lahaitzi koil mikuyim elaitzi shover imakoil. If the rumor that came out is not complete to answer her, rather it comes with a shover that would show us that the rumor will not necessarily answer her. Specific who the hava amasla. That would be an amasla because it came out together with a rumor of al amru davar makuyim mesuyim. But once there's a rumor that will be able to answer her, sulay mahanya amasla, and a masla that comes out later will not be recognized. So we have a machlokes about that. Rabbi Bar Huna says it will be recognized, but Rabbi Bar Chana Amar B'Yochanan said it won't be recognized. Amar of Abba. Once the rumor was accepted, correct, or get, or the truth, that's right. She could bring Adam. Amar of Abba, Amar of Huna, Amar Rav. Lo yishamu kalavar. So once again, everyone's addressing the same shaila. Elo kadei sheyayimru loini. This is what it means. This is what it means. An amasla that a rumor that sticks, a coil that sticks. What it means is as follows: there was a rumor, and then they say Elo kadei sheyayimru loini meichin sham. Who did this rumor over? Yankel. Where did Yankel hear it from? Miploni from Beryl. Beryl uploni miploni. Beryl heard it from Shmerel. They're boidik, and they get down to the bottom of it, going from source to source to source, till they hear from the person who actually witnessed it, could say it over. I'm sorry? Direct witness. Davar abor, edus mal yosahu. What do you mean, Davar? That's edus mal yosahu. So that's no longer a rumor that was verified. That's to edim. So why is that called relying on a coil? At the end of the day, we had full Adam. Ella, this is how we have to, this is a rumor. But the last Adam that we know were there, they're not here to testify. They went to Medina Hasayam. That's why we don't have Adam anymore. We have a good rumor. There's a shaila in the Rishonim. Is it that we asked Shmerel where he heard, and he tells us Beryl, and Beryl tells us from Chaim, and Chaim tells us from David, and David tells us from two kosher Edom, and those kosher Edom aren't around? But that means the whole thing is only relying on one person. Or maybe what we're talking about is two Edom all along. So the Ploini really means a set of Edom. Reuben and Shimon told us they heard it from Levi and Yehuda. Levi and Yehuda told us they heard it from Zechar and Zvulun. Zechar and Zvulun told us they heard it from Don Naftali, and Don Naftali are gone. So there's such a shaila if we needed to have Edom as well for that. Amar Leah Bayer Reb Yosef. Mivatlin and Kala Oilay Mivatlin. If you remember, we had a couple of lot ago this question, and we said that in Ardor they were not Mivatal Koil, and in Surah where Rav was the rabbi, they were Mivatal Koil. And the reason why you wouldn't be Mivatal Koil, if you remember, is because it would look like the Rabbanim are trying to cover up wrongdoing. So it doesn't look good for them, so therefore they're not Mevatel HaKoil. So the Shaila is, are you Mevatel HaKoil? They can't just be Mevatel HaKoil, you have to have grounds to be Mevatel HaKoil. So Rashi shares with us two pshatim, of which Tosfos only likes one. Mevatlin Kola, what was the case? Shemanu Kol Yotzim Mipinochim V'Tinoikos, if they heard it from non-reliable sources, Meshaskin Lahu Levatula Kala, do we shut them down and make an announcement that this is false and they shouldn't spread these false rumors? Or no, you let them continue with their rumor. You don't stop them because they're sort of a line of yichus where this information comes from, yet we can't verify it by asking those Eidim. Or inami, and this is the pshat that Tosfos likes better, is chazru oizon ploinu b'din siyah. What if those Eidim that everybody quoted had told everybody that they witnessed the kedushin, they come home. The Amrim, they say, they said the whole thing's false. We never said such a thing. So it has already been accepted that this woman was considered Nikudeshes, and now we blow it up at the very source. Now that there was already a rumor, and we know it's a false rumor, we verified with certainty that it's a false rumor, because the originators of the rumor, the Edom, are telling us that it never happened, but maybe you still allow the rumor to remain. And the svara we had earlier in the Masechta was because it will give a perception that Beis Din are trying to cover up wrongdoing. Let's see, Tosfos near Kapira Sheni Shabakuntas. I like Rashi's second pshat. Okay, so let's see what the Gemara says about this shayla. He answered him back. Rabbi Yosef answered back. Rab Chisda told us. I didn't see Rab Chisda until now, so right now Rabbi Yosef is introducing something that Rab Chisda said. And he said, we will not accept a rumor, we will ignore a rumor, which seems to indicate that Rab Chisda, his opinion is you don't just willy-nilly accept any rumor. It has to be somewhat verified. As Rashi Mipik Sheir, Sheyayimru Miploini Shamanu, V'hu halach leMedina Sayyam. So since we're very careful not to just accept a rumor, you see that the attitude of the Rabbanim are not just to so easily accept a rumor to answer a woman. And therefore, since that's their general opinion, that you don't always listen to rumors so easily, we're going to stretch it a bit more. If we actually were able to examine the witnesses themselves later on, and it turns out that it was not true, we would actually make an announcement to be mevatel this rumor. We would klaposh the bishmeders, the lav kalahu, that it's not a real rumor, and we would allow her to remarry. So although Reb Chizda didn't express an opinion directly on bittul koil, but you see that he's leaning towards not accepting so easily a koil. And therefore, he would also reject the koil, even though it came out of it. Amali Adarab. So Abai said, why look at Reb Chisda? Let's look at Reb Sheshes. So you see, Reb Sheshes is much more willing and open to listening to a koil and acting on a koil and answering a woman because of a koil. If anything, you should see Shemami no loy mevatlin and kal. Omar lei. So Rabbi Yosef answered, you know what this is? It's atar vasaninu, meaning the kaimais chalukin b'minhagam. They were different places, and in different places they had a different approach to rumors, and there was a reason why these different places had a different approach to rumors. V'sur mevatli kala in Rav's halacha, where Rav was the dayan of that area. In Rav's domain, they would be mevatel koil. In Hardah, loy mevatli kala. In Hardah, they would not be mevatel koil. There was a woman that a koil came out about her, that she became married lebarbe Rav, to a student in the yeshiva. Also, Rab Chama went to her father to find out exactly what happened. Omerle, he told him, Emily heiche avot. Tell me exactly how this rumor came out that your daughter's married to this Talmud. Omerle, he told him, Al Tanai Kodesh. Sure, this man was Makadosh, my wife, but in his kedushin he made a t'nai, and the t'nai was adaita de le'ozol lebeichuza. He made a t'nai, and he told my daughter, "I'm marrying you. I'm not that I do not go to beichuzah." But he ended up going. So in fact, the whole kedushin is never a kedushin because the t'nai was not triggered, or the t'nai to be mevatel the kedushin was triggered. Omer lei, you know what Reb Chama said? Sorry, kibun de beidna davakali lehavei amasla. Since when the coil came out, it didn't come out with it that there was a t'nai involved. Therefore, lehavei amasla. We don't accept this as a masla because lav kol kiminoch the mechaskes a masla. We can't believe you once we've already accepted a rumor. We can't believe you to create this amasla and later on undo it. There was a woman who a rumor came out about her that she was niskacha be'atzifa de tuchla. Now this is something that if I tried being mekadosh a woman with it, I would end up with a baseball bat smashed across my skull. What was the rumor came out? What was the Mois kedushin? There are dates that had not yet been fully ripened, and therefore it's hard to get the flesh off of the pits. They put them into woven baskets. That allows them to ripen a little bit, and therefore we eat it a little bit. It's going to leave over some flesh on the pit because it doesn't separate that easily. Because it's not properly ripened. So what are we talking about? He was mekadosh with pits that had flesh on it that somebody else already sucked out. Sounds like a very beautiful way to be mekadosh and isha. I can imagine the Masada Kedushin takes this bag of pits and he asks the chassan, "Are these yours?" And he says, "Yes, it's mine." Okay, now you can be mekadosh with it. The island glas kishosa b'tzivu b'duchta. Okay, it's Michael Behema. That's what he was mekadosh with. Everybody knows the famous story of a salesman that came in to a home to sell an elderly woman something, and of course they just want company. They want to talk. So she sat him down by the table and she was schmoozing with him. There was a bowl of nuts on the table. So he asked her, "Do you mind if I nibble on nuts while we're talking?" She said, "Not at all." And she's talking and talking and talking. And, as he's nibbling, he doesn't really keep track of how much he's eating. Eventually, the bowl was empty. So he felt a little bit uncomfortable that he ate up all her peanuts. So he told her, "I'm so sorry. I ate up all your peanuts." She says, "Don't worry. I can't eat them anymore. I can only suck off the chocolate. So you're more than welcome to eat the nuts." So that's what he was mekadosh with. Zog the heilige Gemara weiter. So how is he mekadosh with a tziva de tuchla? Be'eno de Beishifi. Where did this happen? It happened at the well of this city called Beishifi. Sholcha Ravidi Beravin l'kamei Abaye ki hagav nemai. So they asked Abaye, would this be considered a proper rumor that she's married? Amalei, he said, Afilu l'man damer lo mevatin kala. Even if you normally hold that you're not mevatel koil, v'hav kala. In this case, for sure, we're mevatel the koil that she was married, because Meimer Amri, I knew b'hu rabbanon v'kiddushay v'lehav b'shav pruta. Since there's an amasla there, what was used? These pits. Therefore, people will say that if we allow her to marry without receiving a get from this person, they'll say, well, obviously, that was never a shavapruta. It wasn't a valid way to be mekadosh a woman. So that's also called an amasla b'tzida, because the mois kedushin that was used, was mineu bay, not a shavapruta, or it could be argued that she's not a shavapruta, and therefore it undoes that. I saw somewhere, I thought it would be here in Rashi, but I don't remember what I saw, is that the reason why the different cities had a different approach to whether you're mevatel a koil or not, it's because in certain cities there used to be a lot of rumors come out. So they had to be mevatel a koil because it was very commonplace and maybe some of them weren't true. But in the other cities, people weren't such gossipers. And because of that, rumors were given much more credibility. Another woman came out about her koil. The ikatcha, that she became a kudeshes, turning on Tamid Beis, L'chad mibnei plan. One person from the children, one of someone's children, but we don't know specifically which son. Amar Rava said, even if you normally not mevatel koil, v'ava matlin kala. Meimar Amri, if we just let her marry without a get, they won't say that she's marrying without a get. They won't say she's an eshish. They'll say Ainu burabanon v'kidushi katnavu. They checked up which son it was, and one of the children there was not an adult, was a minor. So his kedushin is not valid. They'll say it was a kedushin. There was a woman that a rumor came out about her. It was a child, but he was very big. Sometimes you have a bar mitzvah boy that could be 6'2", right? There are people who are very big people. As Rashi Lekatan, Bishanim, he was of the age in near Gufa Kagada, while he looked like an adult, but in fact he wasn't. Amalei of Mordechai Rabashi, have a uvda, there was such a case, the Amru and the Paskin that this is not a good kedushin, because Adayin lo yigia le palgosh Ruben. He didn't, or the flegosh Ruben, he has not yet reached the flegosh Ruben, which is a level of maturity. Shenemar le flegosh Ruben gedolim chikrei leiv. And I believe this is when Devar Neviah led the Yidden out to battle in the time of Sisera. So there were a lot of people who were sitting on the fence. They didn't know if they should join her because they were afraid. They didn't have confidence that, in fact, they would survive. So because of that, she said, "Don't be like the people who are undecided. The people from the people of Flegosh Reuven, which means people who have that to think about things." Okay, Zog to Gemara weiter. If there's no amasla built into it, then we will give heed, we will listen to the rumor. Amar Rabba Baravuna, amasla sha'amru, afilu mikan v'dasarayim. As we learned on Amar Aleph, that Rabba Baravuna, Rabbi Yechon argues on him, but he holds that even if an amasla comes out after 10 days later, we will still allow that to undo the rumor. Rabbi Zid Omar, v'mokaim amasla choshishin la'amasla. What does that mean? Zokt Rashi, the Makam Masla, if it's a place where there could be an Masla, afilu ein Masla, even if the situation is such that there's a possibility of an Masla, and we're going to see soon the example, Shenucha Lilmoid Shema Masla, their Choshin Shema Masla. Shema Masla ploinis yesh ledavar. If it's possible that there's an Masla, we will actually be choshed. Maybe this Masla is here, even though we didn't hear about it. A kol bottle. So this is a little bit difficult to understand. We're going to have to get an understanding of what this means. In the place of an amasla, you're choshish for an amasla. So what does this mean? We're choshish for it as long as there's no amasla. Which means, if our Mishnah says it's much more that if it's a mokam amasla, that wouldn't be enough to dispel the rumor, only if there actually is an amasla. So how can you, Rabbi Zvi, tell me, even if it's a mokam amasla? When our Mishnah says that you listen to our rumor as long as there's no amasla, it doesn't mean that there actually has to be an amasla. It just has to be that there's a possibility that there's an amasla. You don't agree with me that even if there's a mokam amasla, you won't ignore it. Zokt the Gemara about Vatanan we learned niskacha. What if a woman was niskacha? Now we're going to get clear what a mokam amasla is versus or a real masla. We know what it is. There's a t'nai. A mokam amasla means it's very obvious that there could be an issue here with the rumor. So let's see the case. Niskacha. A woman was married and her husband went to Medina Hayam and he doesn't come back. So Rashi says, Zok Rashi, Dim Yesh Pesach Limtzay Amasla. If there's a scenario where an amasla is likely, the Samchinon Uminasvinala, we will still allow her to get married. Where do you see that? Because Vatnan Isha Shahalach Baila Medina Hayam, a woman whose husband traveled long distances. Uva Eid Echad the Omar law meis baila, and the aide came along and told her, your husband died. Fidiskacha, she accepted Kedushin, but she didn't have relations with him because there was no Nesuin, right? So she's definitely not Asher Labal Laboil. The Agagach Bobaila. And then her husband showed up. The halach is Muteres Lachs. She is allowed to go back and marry her first husband because she didn't violate her marriage. However, if it was a Nesuin, we say it's Taitzi Mizeh Mizeh, and she needs a get from both people. So let's have a look at Rashi now. V'niskacho there's Muteres Lachs or Larisha. But if she was nises, means they had relations, katani osam teitzi mizeh mizeh. V'avagav danusahi. She's an anusa because Lamaisa Bezin were matter her to get married with an eidechad. Sherei Bezin hayrua linase. So why is it that we force her to? Why do we force her not to marry her first husband? Technically, it wasn't her fault because the Psak Bezin was that with an eidechad she can get remarried. So why don't we allow her to go marry her first husband again? Why does she have to be divorced from her first husband? So the Gemara assumes it must be mishum cheshasha deloy leimru girish rishing v'nosa sheni v'achshav yichazeres loy mishanises. People are going to think that if we allow her to go back to her first husband, it's not because she's an onus, because they'll say what probably happened is before her husband left the Medina Sayyam, he divorced her, and then she married this other man. And now her second husband is divorcing her, and she's going back to her first husband. What's wrong with that? That's an Isser Lav. It's called Machzer Grushosai Mishanises. If someone divorces his wife, she remarries somebody else, she may no longer go back and marry her first husband again. That's an Isser Lav. So since we're afraid people are going to say that, that is why by Nises, we don't allow her to go back to her first husband. Unlike if she was only Mikudeshes, we do allow her to go back to her first husband. But if she was only Mikudeshes to the second husband, and there was no Nesuin, there, as the Mishnah says, she is allowed to go back to her first husband. But why? My time at Chazeres Larishon. Why is there a distinction between if she was Mikudeshes, where we let her go back to her first husband, we should have the same chashas. She got divorced from her first husband. She got Kedushin from the second husband. And now she's going back to her first husband. It's the same thing. It's Machshir Grushasoi after she accepted Kedushin. So we're concerned with that if she accepted Nesuin from another man, but we're not concerned with that if she only accepted Kedushin from another man. Why? What is the difference? My time in Chazeres Larishon, V'latzricha Misheni. This is a real rumor. She got Mikudeshes. We know she goes Mikudeshes. Everybody knows that when her husband left, she accepted Kedushin from another man. So this is a major rumor. So why is it that if she was Nesua, we don't let her go back to her first husband? But if she was only a Rusa, we do let her go back to her first husband. There's only one explanation for it. Lav mishum damrinam al tanai kodesh. It must be because there's a masla built in. Well, people will say that she only accepted Kedushin al Tanai, and the Tanai was not fulfilled. So therefore, we don't know for a fact, no one heard for a fact that she was Mekabel Kedushin al Tanai. Everybody knows she was Mekabel Kedushin. But since it's possible there was a Tanai, people are going to say that. So you see right away, the mere possibility of an Amasla, we grab. And therefore, we will say that she's mutter. Let's see Rashi. Lav mishum the yeshkan mokam amasla. It must be that there, although there's no real amasla, because the rumor didn't come out that she was mikudeshes with a tnai. We know that she was mikudeshes mamish. She was mikudeshes mamish. And since we might be able to say that there was a tnai. Therefore, the yeshkan mokam amasla lisma chalof to rely on the chemiyahadri law legavra when we let her marry her first husband. Amri will say. People are going to understand that this wasn't an Easter of Machzor Grushasoi. Rather, her second Kedushin was probably invalidated. Shal Tanai Kitcha Sheni, the second husband only made Kedushin on the condition Shim Yovoi Baila Shagirsha. That if her husband comes back, the husband that they know divorced her, they think divorced her, if he comes back from Medina Sayyam, Sheyiyu Kedusha of Betelah. That his Kedushin should be bottled. She loved her first husband. She never wanted to run away from him. She only took a get from him because there was a fear that he wouldn't return. But Avadi wants to go back. The only reason why her husband divorced her, because they were afraid he wouldn't come back. Therefore, even though she accepted kedushin from another man, she does want her original husband back. So she only accepted the kedushin almanas that her husband doesn't come back. And that's the only way you can explain why, if she was only mikudeshes and not a nesua, why we would allow her to go back. Because even though there's only merely a possibility of a tanai, that's how people will interpret it. Even though the rumor never came out that there was a tanai, we will say, since that's a possibility, we will introduce it. Samchin alei. Zok to Gemara, you've just built a tower in the sky that has no shaykhs. There's a completely different explanation as to why there's a difference between a nesua and an arusa. Shiny Hasam, Dosi Baal, Vikama Acher. What's happening here is the husband is coming and he's screaming that, how could you be married to her? She's my wife. As Rashi says, Shiny Yacha Dosi Baal, Vikoi, he's here, Umemer Amri, and he's saying, I never divorced you. Allah says, Savura Shemeis. She thought that he died. So that's the reason why he could take her back. He can take her back because people aren't going to think that she was divorced and she remarried and she's going back. There's a big tumult going on over here that her husband came and said, I never divorced you. You're my wife. That's the reason. Correct, Gemara, if that's the reason why we let her go back to her first husband, because it will be obvious to everybody that there was never a get, because the husband's screaming, I never divorced you. What's going on over here? Well, Yachi Nisas Nami. So then why don't we let her go back to her first husband if she was Nesua? There's the same thing. Everybody will know that there was never a divorce. Zok to Gemara, Yachi Nisas Nami. That's true, but Nisas of the Isura, if she accepted Nisuin from a second man, which was inappropriate, because we said that there's a rule, even though we allow a woman to get married to Fnei Echad, it's only because Isha Daiko Mitzvah. It's because she will do her own independent research and verify without a shadow of a doubt that he died and he's not coming back. Obviously, she didn't do her due diligence properly. And the rule is, since she knows that we're going to throw the book at her, if in fact her research is wrong, she'll be uber careful. But in this case where he came back, it shows us Lamafreya that she did wrongdoing by accepting Nisuin. Therefore, Kansua Rabbanon. She's not also to him because of the Ksera that people will think he's Machshir Rishasa. The reason why she's also to go back to her first husband, it's a sanction. You did something bad and you should not have done it, and therefore, even though technically, halachically, you might be an anusa and you might still be mutter to your husband, but we're sanctioning you because you didn't do your due diligence. Kansua Rabbanon. But Niskacha, if she only accepted Kedushin, which would for sure not lead to intimacy, so Avda Yisura, she didn't do an Isser. Therefore, like Kansur Rabbanon, the Rabbanon didn't sanction her for accepting Kedushin. Amar Bashi, any rumor that had not yet been accepted in Bezdin, it's still floating around the street, is not a real koil. Amar Bashi, a koil that first comes out after she's married to a man that would render her usher to him is something that you ignore. But if a koil came out after Erison, before she was in the Suah, there we might listen to. Even if she's already only mikudeshes, we won't break up a marriage, even only a kedushin marriage, over a rumor. The halacha is, even after kedushin, we're not choshesh to a rumor. They sent from the Bismedish of Rav to ask of Shmuel Ashayla, even though they had different halachas. Yilamdeinu Rabbeinu. The Rebbe teaches us, Yotzal koil merishain. There was a koil that Reuven was Makadisher, Uva Achar v'kitcha kedusha Torah, and now Shimon came along and made kedushin with Edom. We know clearly that the kedusha was made. Mahu, what will be the halacha? Shalachlu, Shmuel said, Teitze, she has to leave her second husband, but v'himidu adavar al boyrav, and go clarify that rumor, if it's a legitimate rumor or not, v'diuni, and let me know. So therefore, we have to be choshesh for that rumor. What exactly did Shmuel want clarification of? Ilema the imegalia milsa the kedusha the kama lav kedusha ma'al yinin. What was he hoping would happen? That if they would find out that the original kedusha was not valid, mivatlin and kala, was Shmuel going to be mevatel the koil? We know Shmuel doesn't do those things. But Nardo is Ashri the Shmuel. Nardo was the city where Shmuel was in control. They're not mevatel koil. So what clarification would have helped us with this psak? Elo, what must be is the megalia milta the kedusha kama kedusha ma'al yininu. If they would verify that the rumor was correct, and in fact she was mekudeshes to the first person, lo tzricha get misheni, Shmuel won't even require a get from the second husband because that kedusha has no validity whatsoever because the second man married an already married woman. Ufliga de Rafuna, and he argues on Rafuna. Damar Rafuna, Eishes ish shapashta yoda v'kibla kedusha me'achar. What if a known married woman went down the chuppah and she accepted kedushin? Mikudeshes, the kedushin is a valid kedushin. How could it be? She's a married woman. Midei Rav Hamnuna, because of Rav Hamnuna's halach. If a woman looks her husband in the eye and says, "You gave me a divorce," she's believed. You know why? No woman will have such a gall and such audacity to tell her husband to his face that he gave her a divorce when in fact he didn't. So too, no woman would have the gall to go down the chuppah with her partner and sit the kedushin and aid him if she knows she's married. So the mere fact that she accepted kedushin is in and of itself a declaration that I received a get from my wife. The idach. What about the person who argues on Rav Huna, where we said the megalia milsa the kedusha kama kedusha ma'al yininu, she doesn't even need a get, right? Shmuel, we want to learn in Shmuel that she won't even need a get. The fact that she accepted kedushin doesn't mean anything. The idach he itmad Rav Hamnuna befanav. Sure, if a woman tells a husband to his face, "You divorced me," there you have Eina Demeis, and she's believed. But Shalai B'fanav, the Mekabel Kedushin, who said he's in the audience? If she's just going to Chuppah Kedushin, there Me'iza U'Me'iza. There's actually Tosfos brings down the shaila of such a case where a woman was going down the Chuppah, even though we knew she was married, to accept Kedushin from somebody else, and the husband was in the audience. So there the Gemara says, there Tosh says, there it's not like this. There Kul Alma would agree that that's a Me'iza because he's there in the audience. Okay, so what if they couldn't clarify? In Shmuel's case, Shmuel says, go figure out what happened with the first marriage. What if they couldn't? Omar Funa, what we would have to do is Megarish Rishon, he would divorce the first person, V'noise Sheni, and he would stay, and he would be able to continue and make Nesuin on the Mukadeshes that he did. But we don't let him divorce the second. We don't let the second husband divorce her and allow her to marry the first husband. Why not? My timer. Also, remember, people are going to say, they'll say that he probably divorced her, and then she remarried somebody else, and then she divorced the second husband. She went back to the first husband. That's what you shouldn't do. We allow that as well. Why? People aren't going to be choshid that she married, divorced, and then went back to the first husband. What they're going to say is, they were ma'ayin in the second kedushin. People will say, why did she go back to marry her first husband? Because the Rabbanim analyzed the second kedushin, and it turned out it was a mistake. Okay, let's stop here. I just want to look at that Tosfos because it's such a fascinating Tosfos. After Nesuin, a rumor went out that she accepted kedushin from somebody else. But the person who they heard about him, so she's married to a man, and there was a koil that she had been married prior to somebody else. But that person who the rumor was about, she was married to Reuven before. Reuven was by her wedding. So there, there for sure she doesn't need a get from Reuben. She was a guest at the wedding, right? Doesn't the priest ask if anybody has something to say it now? And he didn't say anything. First of all, chadid the kalabas and the sunnah lachashina. Stamazo, you never chashed the kal after she's nesua, which she is. Boy, the kivin sheniskach lazeb b'fanav. Shari chazaka and isha me'iza panel b'fanav. She will for sure not be meiz to get married to another man while her husband is sitting right there in the audience. Okay, let's stop here, and we'll be Hashem Imam Shech tomorrow to finish the Masech.